Hey, my name is Jen Price. I'm the owner and operator of the Atlanta Beer Boutique. It's a pop-up mobile craft beer experience company that focuses on educating people through craft beer classes, workshops, pairings, and other fun educational sessions. But the goal is to transition that into a brick and mortar location that not only continues the educational component, but that also incorporates a retail space. So you could come and buy your beer and get educated at the same time at the Atlanta Beer Boutique. So I started my company just doing the pop-up events and knew that I wanted to eventually transition into this brick and mortar location, but I didn't really know how to make the leap between what I was doing and what I really wanted to do. So I took some time and really researched the craft beer industry. I've been a fan of the industry for pretty much my whole life. And just recently got back into it through hosting events, but decided that it would be a good opportunity for me to really research and look into the trends in craft beer, what's happening not only in Atlanta and in Georgia, but in the United States. And so I really got a chance to educate myself on where beer was going and really what the gaps and the needs were in the industry. And once I figured that out, I started working on my business plan, and I worked on that a few years ago, actually over the course of the last 5 or 6 years. But when I got to the Start Me program is really when I got a chance to really sharpen that business plan. I had access to current data and to good information that really helped me kind of focus in on my specific needs for the industry, helped me determine who my target market was, helped me determine just some specific geographies where my business could flourish. And it really kind of repositioned me in a way that I don't think I would have gotten to on my own. And it also helped me to really determine what my true budget was going to be. I had been using fictitious numbers and pulling numbers off the internet here and there. Again, Start Me helped me pull together some numbers grounded in truth, grounded in data, and grounded in real revenue data. And it really helped me to determine how much I needed. And then I've really figured out how much it was going to cost to open a craft beer shop and educational space, and it was way more than I thought it was going to be. It was terrifying. I determined very early on that I didn't have that kind of money in my own personal budget. I don't also have access to like a rich uncle or a rich auntie or an inheritance, and so it was really upon me to figure out how I was going to fund this dream of mine. I don't think I ever for a minute really thought that I couldn't figure out a way. It was just a matter of figuring out which of these different avenues I could take. Would I go to a bank? Would I go to a credit union? But I really decided that a crowdfunding campaign would be good for me for several reasons, and mainly because I want to create a community around beer. And I know that I have a good network of people around me. They may not have money themselves to give to me, but they have networks that are very deep. And I felt that that would be a good thing to leverage and to help fund my business. And so a crowdfunding campaign really seemed to be a good fit for me and my future. So crowdfunding and how to get this thing started. So you start with a goal. You figure out how much you need based on how much you can bring to the table and how much your business costs. That gap is probably going to be your crowdfunding goal. And then you determine how long it's going to take. I did the research, and 30 days is like the sweet spot for a crowdfunding campaign. So I decided to raise $25K in 30 days, and that's where I let it go. And I did have to come up with a good design for this campaign. And I would caution people to just think that, you know, you're just going to go out here and post stuff on social media and you're going to get money from people. It does not work that way. I set up a network of ambassadors. I asked 20 of my closest friends, people who owe me favors, friends and family who didn't have the money but who have the network, like I mentioned earlier, to just really be my ambassadors and to be sort of my extensions, an extension of me in the field and social media in asking for money. And we had weekly goals. I sent out posts, I sent out content, I sent out information for them to make it easier, actually, for them to post the information and to do it on my behalf. They really kind of were an extension of me throughout this whole campaign. I could not have done it without them. And then lastly, just sort of the pre-planning that goes behind this. I started working on this campaign maybe 6 months in advance before I even launched it, actually almost closer to a year. So I would just encourage you, if you are thinking of doing a crowdfunding campaign, to really take a step back, figure out what your deadline would be for when you want to raise the money, and then work backwards from that and determine when you need to start planning. There's no magic answer to any of this. I don't really know of a secret pill or a secret answer to how to make a campaign successful or not, but I do know it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of planning on the front end, and a realistic goal as far as your time and your budget goes. One thing I do want to encourage, and I didn't say this earlier, is for you to, if you're not an asker like me, I'm not a natural asker, I don't ask people for money, I suck at it, but I know that I have friends who are really good at it, and so those are the folks I put on my campaign as ambassadors. Reach in for all those favors. People owe you stuff, people love you, and they want to see you succeed. You'd be surprised at how many people will come to your aid when you really need them for your campaign. And then the last thing, the do's and don'ts. The one thing that I would do is to probably, if I could do this thing all over again, is set a higher goal. One thing I did not factor in is, and I did to an extent, but not as much as I should have. At the end of a Kickstarter campaign, for example, you have to pay out with all of the perks that you've promised people. You know, if you donate at a certain level, you get a certain gift or a certain perk. And I factored in that into my budget a little bit, but probably not enough. I probably would have set my goal about $8,000 to $10,000 higher. And also, I was so surprised at how well the ambassador network strategy that I came up with worked that I probably think I could have raised a little bit more anyway. So, you know, do set a realistic goal, do set a higher goal maybe than what you think you really need, and don't for 1 second think that you can't reach it, because you can. With enough work, enough preparation, you can get there.